100 years ago, a wooden tramcar crowded with expectant passengers rose slowly up the calm old limestone headland of the Great Orme, as though magically lifted by the cheers of the crowd and the patriotic strains of the town's silver band. The crowds were applauding the debut of a unique funicular mountain tramway, similar to that first developed on the steep streets of San Francisco. The 207-metre Great Orme is the highest piece of land jutting out to the sea in Britain. Dr. Nicol, the inspiration of the Great Orme Tramway, believed that its wild, windswept plateau was also Britain's healthiest spot. Its exceptionally pure and exhilarating air made it ideal for a sanatorium. No other resort in the kingdom could boast such a magnificent breathing space, nor the grandeur of the views from the Great Orme uplands overlooking 5 counties, the hazy mountain ranges of Snowdonia, and an unrivaled seascape looking over to Puffin Island, Anglesey and beyond. But even the tramway's founders could scarcely have imagined that delighted holidaymakers of the 21st century would ascend the Great Orme in the same Victorian wooden tramcars to marvel at the cable-hauled tramway and at the sea-lapped promontory of the Great Orme. The journey on the Great Orme Tramway starts at Victoria Station, built in 1904. Its lower section climbs steeply on a 3-foot 6-inch gauge trackway for 800 metres to Halfway Station. The old town was served by the King's Head public house facing you as you leave the Victoria Station. The pub has memorabilia from the early days of the tramway, and you can still see an ornate bracket attached to its wall, which supported the overhead wire, originally used for the tramway's telephone and bell signalling system. You will be sitting in one of 4 original sturdy wooden Victorian tramcars. The cars are all named after local Welsh saints. The cars were built with unglazed windows, and the wind on the summit can be brisk or healthily invigorating, as Dr. Nicol might have put it. The tramcar is attached to a cable buried in a slot between the rails, which is driven from the winding house at Halfway Station. The Great Orme Tramway is a double reversible funicular. 2 cable cars ply each section of the line. They are bound to a fellow tramcar. The weight of the partner as it descends from Halfway Station will help haul it up the steep track. It will pass its twin at a loop midway between Victoria Station and Halfway Station. The tram driver will insert a 2-pin prong on his wristband into the tram's controls when he receives the signal to move from Halfway Station. The craggy limestone cliffs of the Great Orme loom above as your tramcar starts its ascent of the old road as if on rollers. As the tram climbs, you may get your first glimpse of the Great Orme's unusual wildlife, feral goats with scimitar-shaped horns. They're exotic cashmere goats with silky pashmina down coats, descendants of a herd given to Queen Victoria for Windsor Great Park by the Shah of Persia. Queen Victoria gave a breeding pair of these goats to Lord Mostyn of Llandudno, and they arrived on the Great Orme around the same time as the tramway. At the top of the old road, the tram track crosses Tygwyn Road, passing traffic lights at a point known as Black Gate, originally a cattle gate. You get your first sight of your faithful twin tramcar as you pass your descending partner on the loop. The views here are stupendous panoramas looking back over the graceful sweep of Llandudno Bay. You're entering a wild, treeless expanse of grey rock ledges, gorse and sweeping mossy turf, whose curves terminate in a space where the sea begins, and give far distant views of the Conwy Valley and the mountains of Snowdonia. On your left, you pass the Great Orme Bronze Age copper mines and the oldest metal mines open to the public in the world. The guard will cry, "All change," when you arrive at Halfway Station. It houses the tramway's winding gear, which you can see through a glassed-in viewing area. Winchmen operate the 2 back-to-back winding engines at Halfway Station, one for the lower and one for the upper section. Each has 2 huge side-by-side drums, one for the ascending tramcar and one for its descending twin. The winchman now has a screen monitor and tram position indicator to show him exactly where on the track each tramcar is. Trams run every 20 minutes between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. each day, 7 days a week between March and October, and carry around 120,000 passengers a year.